Let us now take an example of the Tungabhadra river basin and the water use, its impact on the states and so on.
Tungabhadra, which is a tributary of river Krishna, is shared by the southern states of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. It finds its origins in the Western Ghats with a catchment area of 71,417 square kilometers, of which 57,671 square kilometers is in Karnataka. The upper and middle catchment in Karnataka and the lower portion of the catchment in Andhra Pradesh are two parts of the Tungabhadra basin. Farmland is the main land cover in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, according to official statistics. Trees, groves, fallow land cultivable waste, permanent pastures, forests and natural vegetation cover the remaining area. And some of the remaining areas are used for storage by water harvesting systems, which are called tanks. The lower part of the basin in Andhra Pradesh receives lower rainfall and drought conditions. Some of these regions depend on rainfall and sources of underground water like wells and tube wells. There are other areas that depend on the surface flows by canals, which bring water from the dams across Tungabhadra.
Students, we can see that there is a huge difference of water availability between these two types of regions. Encroachment or entry into previously not occupied areas of public lands for cultivation purposes is common. This results in more land being brought under cultivation, risking the tree covers existing in that area.
The widespread cutting down of trees and mining activity has led to degradation of forests, which in turn resulted in threat to the flora and fauna of the forests.
We have to keep in mind that the inflow of groundwater depends on the tree cover in these catchment areas. When there is no adequate tree cover, it results in a running off of the water, which does not allow for the recharging of the underground system. Students, conditions like these lead to flash floods. So, in case the rain-fed and the canal irrigated regions should be treated equally, then a different plan should be brought in place for conservation and sharing of water.
Over the decades, the Tungabhadra Dam lost the capacity to store water. The capacity of the reservoir 50 years ago was 3,766 million cubic meters. With the impact of mining, soil erosion, debris, the capacity of reservoir was lost by 849 million cubic meters of water.
According to a study, improper mining standards in iron ore extraction have been highlighted.
Mining of iron ore at Kudramukh and manganese in Sandur areas has resulted in instability of the catchment areas, leading to soil erosion and deposition of rocks and clay of small reservoirs, traditional tanks, and the Tungabhadra reservoir.
For many years, there was a conflict between Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka related to the water available for use.
Students, as water is a flowing resource, its storage or use upstream may affect the people who live near the downstream. The water, when shared between two states, is shared based on agreements between the governments.
The access to water is a requirement, especially in the farmland areas, because 80% of the people depend on agriculture for their livelihood.
The irrigation is provided through canal systems, while in the rain-fed regions, the groundwater is drawn through bore wells. Paddy, jawar, sugarcane, cotton and finger millet are some of the major crops grown.
Although this area is ideal for semi-arid crops, the major crops that are grown here, like paddy and sugarcane, require a lot of water. Students, the The cultivation of such kind of crops across the basin has immensely changed the balance of water sharing. So, what happens then? As all the areas require water, there arise conflicts. This is why there is so much difference between the farmers who have access to land and irrigated water and those farmers who don't have access. In order to have fair access to water by all, a change in the cropping pattern can be encouraged all across the basin. Although the industrialization and the increase in urban areas has increased the number of opportunities for people and improved their standard of living, their activities have resulted in pollution and other harmful effects.
There are 27 functioning large units and 2,543 small units in the river basin, which consume 172 million cubic meters of water per day. Although the industries were allowed to release their effluents into the water, the protests in 1984 with regard to molasses and their harmful impact on fish, laws were introduced to release only treated effluents.
Despite the laws being introduced, there is an improper implementation of the same. As a result, there is severe pollution in the river system. In addition to this, there is a mismatch between maintaining balance between development activities and providing sanitation and drinking water supply for various sections of the society in the rural areas as well as in small towns.
Some point out that drinking water and sanitation are the basic needs and a minimum amount of it can be provided irrespective of the ability to pay for them.
Students, in addition, there are reports for river basin which highlights the improper planning of drinking water, especially in small towns which have grave issues like access and equity more during the summers. So students, from this we can understand that the socio-economic aspects play a very important part in water management. The conflicts between communities and across sectors for water are common. Moreover, the conflict between Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka for water is due to the transboundary nature of the river.